up to $100,000 on raising. Well, how much money do you need to go to New York? I question.
Uh-huh.
You know, but see, then you're a bad person because you question that. So it's kind of like with these nonprofits and all this other stuff. You're on a train. You're in this train car, and you're going to New York.
Right.
15-hour drive, whatever, on a train, nonstop. You're stuck in this car. You can't leave the cabin. This guy walks in. He sits down. He's got 3 kids with him. He sits there, he's looking out the window. And these kids are carrying on, and they're acting up, and everything else. And people are looking amongst themselves like, man, this is a long trip. You know, we need to get some sleep. This is boring. What are we going to do? So finally, one person says to him, excuse me, sir, can you take control of your children? And the guy looks at him, and he says, geez, he says, yeah, I'm really sorry. He says, we just left the hospital. And he said, the children just lost their mother. So now, we're went to, can you control your kids because you think it's gotten out of hand? But now where you have no recourse now because you just look like a bad person. This guy just lost the kids, and this guy, he lost his wife, they lost their mother. So now you look like a bad guy. So the point I'm trying to make is, in this whole circumstances is people take advantage of the system, and they fraud the system, but when you go and question it, it's, oh gosh, now you're a bad person because this money was trying to help somebody. And that's the problem with society with this. So there needs to be some oversight. And the problem and the reason why there isn't is because politicians use this all the time. They use it all the time. It's because I remember it was about 10 years ago I was politically involved, and I belonged to a political party. And they used to send me letters and call me up and, you know, would you like to come to this fundraiser dinner meal, and you had to pay $350 to get in, and you got to meet the president or your state representative, and the whole thing is you're buying your way in so you can rub elbows with the big shots.
Right.
And that's what they do. And they open up these fundraisers or these accounts, you know, but in the politics they call it campaigning. You know, that this money went to campaigning. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Obama, when he got into office, I think he was the highest, he was the president that needed the most money in campaigning, funding, and contributions to go towards his presidency. But nobody looks at after his presidency, he became president, or let's say he didn't, in this case he did, where did that money go to? Who gets it? He raised it to raise money. The government even gives him money to run for campaigning. So where does, see, and this is where we come up with these problems that society doesn't realize, and nobody questions authority anymore because you are that person that asked that guy to tell him to keep control of his children, right, that their mother just passed away. So on that case, what are you going to do? So there needs to be oversight in that.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with people need to control their own purse strings and don't give to organizations that they think are taking advantage of the system.
Right.
And as our organization, I advertise that none of us make any contribution or anything as far as for getting any salaries or anything. We're strictly volunteer, which that should be that way. An organization is basically a group that I feel that goes out and raises money for people to help the community.
Right.
And to help the community progress and prosper, not for your own personal agenda.
Right.
But these people are exploiting it.
Right.
And that's exactly what they're doing.
Right. See, we're we're not asking. We see when we ask for money, it was like people who want to donate to this organization, to our radio station, to our broadcast network. We are a 501c4. Okay, we are nonprofit. And what we do is we're asking for our dealership, our local dealership, of one-time payment of $40,000. One-time payment of 40 grand. Okay, local Ford dealership. Okay, local Ford dealer in my area. We're asking for a one-time payment of $40,000. Is equivalent to selling one pickup. Okay, a $40,000 payment. One time. We're not asking it for a yearly thing. We're not asking for like Facebook. They ask for a contract. They go under contract for 1 year. No, all we're asking is a one-time payment for Fortune 500 company, and it's a write-off for them. And also, what the money will be used for will be used. One is to actually start having the staff here creating jobs. That's huge. Creating jobs. Number one, that's the number one thing. Number two is actually having keeping our medical bills down. Also, you can. Also equipment too as well to keep our network going. So that's what the money is going to be used for. Nothing else. And I have the receipts to prove everything that we're doing. I have the receipts of everything that we're doing, and it's all there public information. It's all there publicly. People want it. That's what we're proposing, and this is what we posted out there. This is what we gave them. This is what our proposal was, and I haven't heard anything back yet. I guess I'm just too honest.
Well, it sounds like to me you want to be transparent, and that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't seem to really like the transparency. It's kind of like the comedian that said, I can talk about politics and people won't listen to me.
Right.
But I can joke about politics, and if people get a laugh out of it, you put more cost.
Right.
And it's true. It really is true. If somebody's a big mouth and you want them to shut up, you don't just go to them and you tell them, hey, shut up.
Right.
Go to them and say, well, I tell you, you really do talk a lot, don't you? And it just kind of puts the same thing across, and it's doing the same thing as if you looked in front of a baby's face and you said, oh, you good little baby, and you talk with a soft tone, you get farther than if you say the same thing, you're a good baby, and how are you? And you're boisterous. It's the tone and the way things are put off. And a lot of people in America tend to not side with the reality and the truth of it. They like it sugar-coated. Well, to be in a good expression that if I shit on a plate, I don't care if you put sugar on it or not, it's still shit. But Americans seem to like it a little bit better. They seem to get along with it a lot easier than they would if it was just the way it is. And that's the problem with society today, that people can't handle the truth of the matter. They always think that the government is on our side. The government cares for you. They always turn to Big Brother for the answers, for the circumstances.
Right.
When the reality of it is that the Constitution has been written so that the people are the voice, not the government.
Right.
Because a million heads thinking are better than one.
Right.
And it's a lot easier for one person to run the crew, I imagine that, but you don't tend to look at the majority. And getting back to these donations and stuff and helping people, I always have to laugh that the government always steps up that, well, we got to cut the fat.
Right.
We got to get rid of Medicare. We got to get rid of Medicaid. We got to get rid of Social Security. Look at all these bums that we're feeding and welfare. But you never